Hello! Welcome back to another video. Another book video at that. I have felt so inspired to talk about books and reading. I mean, it's the fall months. Fall and winter are approaching quickly. And I don't know about you, but 'tis the season of reading. 'Tis the season of long books, 'tis the season of good books, and just there's nothing more inspiring about fall and winter to make you want to read. I do live in California though, so if you know anything about California, fall doesn't really exist. It was 104 yesterday. It's gonna be like 90 today for like the next month. So it's not really like cozy soup weather like I would like it to be. I want to make a soup and I want to lay in bed and I want to be cold and I want to read a book. But we have to wait a couple months for that, so that's annoying. But I thought that there's no better way to like get excited about the books you're reading and about reading in general than to talk about it. So I thought, despite the fact that the weather is working against our ambitions, I should still, share with you some books. So today I'm doing my top 5 favorite books of all time. But also keep in mind, this is like a working list. Like, I feel like in a week, I'll be like, okay, that's not my favorite books of all time, so do with that what you will. This is a very working list. But, yeah. Top 5 favorite books of all time. Let's go. Also, another, like, preface? I don't know. I don't own all these books. I own, like, 2 of them. But that's just because I love to go to the library. I don't understand how people on here have the wallets for the books that they're buying. I mean, people literally only buy the books that they read, and I'm like, I'm not about to drop 100 books monthly just so I can get my reading in. I also I have like a triple hand-me-down bookshelf, if you couldn't tell. I don't know if you noticed, but I reorganized it a little bit. But yeah, I have old bookshelves and I don't buy all my books, but it's annoying because now a lot of my favorite books are ones that I don't own and I can't display and I can't be surrounded by. But without further ado, let me just talk about the books. Let me just talk about the books. I don't know, I'm dilly-dallying around the subject. I hate to do it to y'all, but my favorite book of all time is none other than The Secret History. I know it's a popular book. I know all y'all out there know what it is. I know you've all probably heard of it. If you're watching my video, you most likely have read The Secret History. Most likely. I feel like this is like the demographic for it. But if you have not read The Secret History, this is your sign that you have to, that you should. The Secret History changed my life, okay? Like, I swear to you, like, 50% of my brain is The Secret History. Like, the other 50% is like whatever goes on up there. There's not a day that I don't wake up and I think about The Secret History. Like, I think about it daily. And I read it about a year ago, and I've been craving it again. I really want to reread it at some point, but I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm ready to like reread it yet, but I'm like a rereader hater. So the fact that I want to reread the history says it says a lot. It says a lot. And for those that don't know what it's about, which I don't know how that's possible, but not judging. If you don't know what it's about, it's basically about this weirdo group of students that go to this liberal arts college in Vermont. It's basically about this group of students. They're studying like the Greek classics with this one professor. It's a total weird circumstance and a total weirdo vibe. And the book opens with the fact that one of their friends is dead. So it's basically the entire story about how that comes to be. And I've never read something so well written in my life before. The way that she formats her story makes it so much more interesting. Her writing is so good, and her character, the sense of character you get from this book is crazy. Like I had such vivid thoughts about who these people were that they started to feel a little too real. Well, just a little too real. So yeah, favorite book of all time probably has to be The Secret History. Read it if you haven't, or if you have read it and you love it. I mean, welcome. Welcome. You're in the right spot. Okay, so it's a bit of a vibe switch, but my second favorite book of all time is definitely In the Dream House. That book. That book. Oh my goodness, that book. I seriously urge so many people to read that book because I think it's so important. If you didn't know, it's basically about, I mean, I saw it kind of like making its rounds on the internet. I don't know exactly how popular this book has gotten. I know that a lot of people have read it and a lot of people have seen it, but if you haven't read it and you're aware of it, it's on your radar, like, please read it. It's basically like a literary memoir. It's really cool the way that she tells the story. But it's about like a toxic, abusive queer relationship. But it also goes in to talk about abuse in general, but also like our preconceived ideas of queer relationships and how it's hard to envision abuse occurring between two women. I don't know, I probably can't really do it justice whenever I talk about it. Like, I feel like the book is just something that you've got to read. I can give you a summary, but I think you just kind of got to read it. It's not very long. It's really beautifully written. Really amazing author. Absolutely love her. And yeah, I mean, I don't have like a ton to say about that book. I know it's like my favorite book, but I don't have a ton to say because I think the book just speaks for itself, and I think I can sit here and I can jumble and mumble about it, but it's like it's not gonna do it justice. It's just such a beautiful book, and I'm really happy that I read it when I did. Kind of changed my life. Again, read it. In the Dream House, please, or don't. Like, I'm not saying this list is just for you to like read it. I'm just telling you books that I love. Maybe we can spark a conversation. Maybe you'll love this book. So if you do, we can talk about it in the comments. I would absolutely love to. Let's roll. Let's roll. I feel like every book on this list is so different, which is kind of fun. I mean, I love reading like so many different types of books. Like it's totally fun, and I've really like branched out recently and started to read so many different genres, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, my third favorite book, I just read it recently, like 2 months ago, and it's The Priory of the Orange Tree. Also another book on my shelf. These are the only two that I own. I kind of had to buy it. It is 800 pages. It took me a month. So, you know, it took me a month. It took me a while. I mean, I'm not gonna like summarize it because it's an 800 page book, but if you like epic fantasy, dragons, or lesbians, read that book. Read that book. Because who doesn't love any of those? Who doesn't love one of those categories, okay? But I would so strongly urge, yeah, if you've never read a fantasy book, it's amazing. It's so good. It's one of the first fantasy books that I've ever read. Not the first, but it's one of them. And it totally turned me on to the genre. I like absolutely love it. And I don't know, I think, you know, there's just those, you know, there's those regular men out there who are writing their fantasy war books. Sure, if you like that kind of thing, you can stick with your Brandon Sanderson, you can stick with your J.R. Tolkien. You can stick with your men. I go for it. But it was so important for me because, you know, it's a woman author who wrote such a beautiful feminist novel, who also like had gay people in it. Like, what? Come on. Come on. Like, if you like House of the Dragon, you've got to read Priory of the Orange Tree. I'm sorry, but it's just like, you've got to. I personally don't like House of the Dragon, but if you do, I know you'll love this book. It's so good. It's so good. I like can't urge you enough to read these books because it was, I like enjoyed every 800 pages of that book, and that's saying a lot because reading a book that long is scary. It's hard, and it's really hard to force yourself to do it. But I read just a little bit every single day, and trust me, like I loved the experience of every time that I read that book, which is, I mean, beautiful. I mean, that's rare. There's a lot of times when I'm reading a book and I'm like, can we like get over this part? But with that, even those 800 pages, I mean, I know a lot of people say it's hard to get into, but for me, I was immediately captivated. It's chef's kiss. It's a work of art. It's absolutely beautiful. I would recommend it, even for those who don't read fantasy. I would recommend it so much to everybody because I loved it. And I will not shut up about it since I have read it 2 months ago. And just wait for me to be insufferable once I finally get around to reading A Day of Fallen Night. Because it's like, it's over for y'all. Like, I'm just gonna be on here and every single video is A Day of Fallen Night. A Day of Fallen Night. I'm so excited. I might do a reading vlog for it because it is so long. So if you want to watch that, if you want me to make that video, you don't have to tell me twice. We're actually like breezing through this list way faster than I thought I would. But anyways, book 4. Book 4 would probably have to be Foster. It's kind of torn between the two last books, but Foster I'm honestly going to put in slot 4. Foster by Claire Keegan. If you didn't know, Claire Keegan is this author that is sweeping the internet space. Her books are just becoming very popular and very known, and thank God for it, because more and more people need to read a Claire Keegan book. I was not obsessed with, oh shoot, what was the name? Small Things Like These? Oh my god, if that's not the name, I'm gonna be so embarrassed. But I think it's Small Things Like These. I wasn't in love with the story. Her writing, sure, I liked. But when I read Foster, it was just a completely different vibe. I read it in one sitting. I'm ADHD as hell. I cannot ever do that. So the fact that I sat there and read the full book, come on. You gotta read it if you haven't already. I mean, you also don't have to read it, but I don't know. This book was, I thought, really beautifully written. I mean, it like just totally perfectly captures, I don't know how to explain it, but she like perfectly captures this like childhood innocence and just like the vibes that she captured. I don't even like know how to explain the book. I mean, it's a 90 like page book. It's very short. But it was really, really impactful in those 90 pages, and the fact that she could pack such a punch in such a short story really says something. I mean, she's really a genius at the short format books. If you're looking for something small to kind of fit in, I would definitely read Foster. I would recommend Foster pretty much over the other Claire Keegan books because this is the one that resonated with me the most. I don't know, I thought it was a beautiful book. You know, really, you know, Irish summer. I read it in the summer. It was beautiful. And that's kind of all I have to say about it, is beautiful. Foster by Claire Keegan. Absolutely amazing. And the last book on this top 5 list definitely has to be A Psalm for the Wild Bill by Becky Chambers. Now, if you didn't know about this book, I think it became pretty popular recently, but if you didn't know about this book, oh my goodness. It's actually, okay, when you stop being a hater and you get over the slight moments of cringe in this book, it's actually a really, really sweet story. And like, I'm somebody like who's notoriously just like read sad things. You know, I was like, I had just recovered from like reading A Little Life and Normal People and all these things. I was reading such sad books, and I just have read such sad books. Sad and just like dark and weird and twisted, and I don't know, it was such a change of heart and pace that I was like, why am I just sitting here reading these depressing books when things like this exist, when this pure-hearted book exists? It's basically about like when at the point in history we've like had robots and we've like used them, but then all of a sudden we were like, okay, y'all robots, they like gained enough consciousness and they were like, y'all go do your own thing. And so the robots like basically lived in like the forest. I don't know. And there was like this tea monk who like you know, helped people with tea, and then our main character meets a robot. And it's so sweet. And they basically have these really philosophical conversations about life and like happiness and purpose. And if you like don't know what to do with your life, like I felt when I was reading it, like I had just dropped out of college and I'm sitting here reading this book about like purpose and happiness and feeling like things aren't going my way, and I was like, oh my god. It was like totally like a book that I needed to read at the time that I read it. It was so important to me. And it's a very sweet, sweet story. I totally recommend it. It's also a very, very short book. So if you want a change of pace or a change of heart and you want a really sweet book that talks about really sweet things and kind of has a really nice message, I'd really recommend A Song for the Wild Bill. I really would. You know, I'm not like recommending anything crazy or anything like new, but they're just books that really like changed my life, and not just changed my life, but books that I just really loved and I really enjoyed and like changed the trajectory of my reading. I feel like someone's favorite books says so much about them. So maybe you'll learn a little something about me. Maybe you'll hate me. Maybe you like me now. I don't know. You be the judge. So yeah, like I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all enjoyed this kind of video. I want to talk more about books and I have so many ideas for the videos that I want to do on this channel. So if you want to join along with the crew, go ahead and subscribe. Okay, this is like the only time I'm ever going to say it. Go ahead and subscribe. And you can come and join along this fun journey. We can have fun. We can do some fun things. I wanna put out a lot of different book related videos because they're the types of videos that I absolutely love watching on YouTube. And at one point I want to start a book club. So if y'all are interested in a book club, I also really want to start a book club. Really quickly, if there's anything that y'all want to see, let me know, because I have video ideas already. But if there's more that y'all want to know and see, tell me. I will deliver, of course. I want to post every week. So if y'all want to join the journey of every week, hop on aboard. I think that's all. And if y'all want a reading update on my fall TBR, let me know. I'm totally down to do one. So yeah, that's it. I need to stop talking. Thank you for watching. Happy reading. I hope you guys liked this video. Happy fall, happy winter, happy whenever you're watching this video. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Bye.